Hello, good morning. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give it just a minute to let people join in, but I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Day one of manifesting abundance through your life purpose. And I always like to clarify because language is so important. Have you ever noticed the word spelling is spell, right? We cast spells, we cast commands, we create with our word. And so in my world, how I speak and the words I use are very, very critically important. And so I want to reiterate to you the intention of the next 3 days is to learn how to manifest abundance through our life purpose. And I do have some notes here, so you will see me referencing some notes to the left, my left, as we go through the next 3 days, because there's a lot of information and I really like to make sure that I deliver all of the necessary pieces. It can be complex to understand how these things come together, unless you've been delivering this message for a year straight. And with each time, more channeled information comes through. And so I've compiled it. So know that each piece of this has been meditated over and pondered and pieced together in different ways many, many times. And the beauty of delivering this over the course of a year is how it grows and evolves and changes and how new insights and new channelings come through. And so know that this is not for lack of sincerity or even, heaven forbid, you think a lack of ability to deliver this without a script, but rather I want to really make sure that I really deliver every ounce of what is necessary to help this land for you. So we are joining here together. I'm so excited to be here with you. I honestly, this is one of my favorite things to do in all of the things that I do. If you follow me, you know that I have been sick for the last 2-ish weeks, which of course I am still wrapping my head around even saying that, because I understand my oneness with the Creator and my infinite inherent wholeness and health and abundance and wealth. And yet the body still is coming to terms with that we can know these things. And this is probably a great way to get started, is we can know things. I can say, I know that already. So if you catch yourself saying, I know this already, but you are here, then there is something that is still not ingrained at a cellular level. And I will say that my experience over the last 2 weeks, I was sick for 10 days and now I'm starting to feel better the last 3 or 4-ish days. That there's always going to be more learning, right? I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am intimately connected with and one with the divine, the way that my finger is one with this body. And yet there is always going to be more to ingrain, right? So we can know something in our brains and not embody it at a core cellular level. So really be open to the things that you're going to hear over the next couple of days. Be open to hearing them in a different way. So know that all is mind. It is very, very important to go into this knowing that as soon as you have a negative or doubtful thought, you have put up a block. You have built a brick wall in front of you, and likely this is a brick wall that you have continued to hit your head against, and you will continue to do so if you allow that thought to close you off and shut you down from the remainder of the message. If there's a piece that you hear that makes you say, I know this already, you're going to click off, or you're going to disengage, or you're going to check out, and you're going to miss the rest. And I can guarantee you, you have not heard all of this already. And the way that it's put together, again, like I said, has been divinely organized. This is not my words. I am, coming into this conversation, having just meditated and had tears in my eyes, because I truly am so humbled to be the vessel that is blessed with the opportunity to bring this to you, that this is not my human doing, that this is truly the divine coming through in beautiful ways to be here for all of us today. So that's one big major piece to really start the conversation with, is don't allow the I know this already to cause you to shut yourself off from what is here and being made available for you today. Number 2 is, if anything is triggering for you, if you hear me say a word or a phrase that causes this like nailed on the chalkboard kind of feeling, if you notice a trigger, that is a gift. That is a gift. So write down whatever it is that happens to trigger you in that moment, and know that I'll explain over the course of the next couple of days how to address that, because a trigger is a gift that says there is a wound, there is a blockage inside of you that is keeping you from being able to fully embrace the truth around this conversation. So know that, and I will cover this later, but it's also really important to cover up front, is that the body will house these blockages. You can call them energetic blocks, you can call them traumas, you can call them whatever you want, but it is literally stuck in your body and it is preventing flow of source, flow of spirit, flow of abundance, flow of whatever it is you desire that you're not able to bring into your life. So that trigger is a gift to help you see where you can remove some of those blockages. Okay. All right. So like I said, I have been a little bit sick. I feel really good. My voice is still a bit scratchy. And hopefully I can get through an hour's worth of talking without coughing too much. But if I do have to mute myself for a second, I'm going to do that so that I'm not hacking a lung in your ear, which I know is not fun, but I am here for you no matter what. So, and I will also, I have lots of prefaces today. It's good. It's giving people time to join, but I will also say the energies have been crazy intense. They have been challenging for many, many people. September was certainly a challenge. October was a big challenge. November was even more challenging than we anticipated. But there is a break. And so this feels so divinely timed, because the relief kind of came in starting on Saturday, and it is feeling amplified today. So it's a beautiful time to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and try again. So if you have felt, especially in October, especially in Scorpio season, if you have felt just really suppressed, depressed, if you felt sort of a loss of hope and faith, confusion, lack of clarity, especially with a new moon. The dark new moon can often leave us feeling confused. We are now 3 days post the new moon, so we are starting to get that clarity again. And the beauty is we get to be together in the next 3 days as that clarity continues to grow and as new insights will come through. So if you have felt like it has been very difficult for you, please know that relief is here. December is going to be much better. There are a lot of different astrological reasons for that, but just from a purely intuitive, energetic reading standpoint, the relief has arrived and that will continue to grow. Okay. All right. So big things are happening in general, not just energetically, but globally, collectively. We are in the middle of the Great Awakening. And for those of us who are open and aware of what is happening, we are the forerunners. We are the new Earth construction team, as I like to say. We are here to create heaven on earth. We are the early adopters, as they would say in product development, the ones who have embraced the new information that is necessary to get us out of this hustle culture, out of the ways of the world that have sucked us dry and kept us in debt slavery for so long. And this shift and change is going to continue. And we, like I said, are the forerunners. We are the ones who are leading the way, who are helping to share the word. And it's really interesting. I meet with a lot of people every day. I do at least one free session every day, plus all of my clients. And it is really interesting how collectively we are, take a deep breath, we are here to share information that in many different ways, your life purpose may not mean that you are a tarot card reader or a psychic. You may be a teacher. You may be a lawyer. You may be a gardener. You may be an architect. You may be an engineer. But all of these professions are going to be needed for creating the new systems for the new earth. And they will also be needed to teach the new ways in which these things need to be done. So we don't want to limit ourselves. Again, all is mind, right? We build our own barriers. We build our own blocks by saying, oh, this isn't a spiritual career. This couldn't be my life purpose. So really be open to whatever it is that you are called to do. And I'll get into how to identify that over the next couple of days, but really be open to how your purpose may show up, right? In the next 3 to 5 years, the world is going to be a very, very different place. And things are shifting and changing all the time, even behind the scenes when we can't see it. So know that we are being called to activate, that if you have struggled to find your purpose, if you've struggled to step into starting your own business or following that calling, that knowing that you're here to do something different, something that matters, something important and impactful, to contribute, to help heal, to help teach, but you haven't been able to step into it, there's a reason for that. And it's almost as if that we've been sort of like an emergency flashlight tucked away in a drawer. We've been saved. We've been protected. We've been in hermit mode or healing mode for a long time, but that has been a protective mechanism. And while playing small is not ideal, we were not fully activating and fully shining and embracing our power and stepping into our purpose because it wasn't time. And so we can put down the self-blame, we can put down the negative self-talk because it's never, ever helpful, and know that we were being saved for this moment. The power has gone out, the time has come. It is time to shine your light. And you'll hear people say that, the thing we fear most is our power. We can say that, and certainly in my experience, I understood that they would say that. And I would say, no, I'm really not afraid of my power. I'm pretty sure I'd really like to activate. I'd really like to step into my gifts. I'd really like to shine bright right now, but I'm just not able to do that. And then the healing happens. Then you start to activate. Then you realize, holy shit, man. And I hope I'm allowed to say that, but you're like, holy crap, I am extremely powerful. And then you do start to realize how overwhelming that is. And it can be a little bit overwhelming for us, but if we're desiring it, we can move through that pretty quickly, but it's also overwhelming for other people. And that's where we get held back because we are so sensitive, we are empathic, we don't want to make other people uncomfortable. And so we go back to playing small. But that time has passed. It is now time. The world needs the special gift that only you can offer. And it is the key to everything that you have been seeking. All of the abundance, all of the freedom, all of the joy, all of the fulfillment, travel, the luxury, all of it is on the other side of moving through that fear of shining and being seen. So just a brief introduction, since we've got some people here now. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Dawn. I go by Vibe Mentor on YouTube, Facebook, IG, Twitter, TikTok, basically all the places. I am a single mother of 3 children, and I like to joke, a rehabilitated pastor's daughter. So I do have that Christian upbringing. The 2 little lovely fur babies that are sitting at my feet are also a part of our home. I live in Wisconsin, and I spent 20 years in the corporate world in Chicago, working for a couple of Fortune 500 companies, or even a Fortune 100 company, before I finally broke free. And I say that because it's like, people like to say, oh, I worked for Fortune 500 or 100. And it's really not the thing to be proud of. In my profession, or in my opinion, that the thing to be proud of is I broke free. I was able to leave behind a 6-figure corporate career, step into my purpose, and finally create a life that I absolutely love living, right? So my purpose is your purpose. My purpose is helping conscious beings move through the unworthiness wound so that you can step into your purpose and assist in creating heaven on earth. So many of us for many years were waiting for the shift, right? I even had a dream, the sky was pink and there was purple jellyfish coming down. And I was like, where's my gift? And finally, over time, I think we've all realized that there's not going to be that flash that happens, but rather it maybe not externally, but it is something that happens internally, that we are the shift. And it is our collective awakening and stepping into our power that creates massive shifts globally. As we step into our purpose, we claim not only our abundance birthright, but we bring about heaven on earth, right? So the new earth is up to us. And that's why I started a community called the New Earth Construction Team. We are making this happen. So you may be here because you want to manifest abundance in your life, or maybe it's because you want to step into your purpose, or you're seeking more fulfillment, or just that sense of feeling alive, right? That life is worth living, that you're happy to be here instead of wanting to exit, feeling trapped in the karmic cycle that seems so painful for many of us. But regardless of why you're here, the strategy to overcome the difficulties and to step into a life that's worth living is all the same, regardless of your challenges or regardless of your intention. That it can be oversimplified if we distill it into a life worth living versus a life not worth living. And however you define that doesn't matter. The strategy to getting there is the same. And I can say that because I have been working with clients for over a year now, one-on-one, and I see all of the different goals and dreams that we set and we try to accomplish are all resolved by the same process, right? So the strategy to do that is all the same, and that's what I'm here to share with you today or the next couple of days, right? So in order to accomplish any of our heart's desires, we have to heal the unworthiness wound first. Sometimes that shows up in a lack mentality or negative thought loops, or maybe some might even call it complex trauma. At the end of the day, it's just the human condition. It's what it means to be in this time, in this place, right? And so if you were alive in 2020 and 2021, the whole world felt unsafe for an extended period of time. And if you don't feel safe, seen, heard, cared for, or loved for an extended period of time, that develops something called complex trauma. That can happen in childhood. It can happen in toxic relationships. It can happen in everyday life in the world that we live in, right? So what that does is it creates a program, a subconscious program in the limbic brain of not feeling enough, right? You might feel that you are not enough, or you might feel that there is never enough of whatever the thing is that you want, whether it's money or love or affection. You might feel that the world is not safe enough. But anytime there's not enough, there is a disconnection from the truth of who you are, from the connection to your creator. It is not true in general, right? So it is a lie. It is one girl I follow, she's like, that is a lie straight from the devil. She likes to joke like that. And I think it's kind of funny because that, again, speaks to my upbringing. But regardless of the program that you have, whether it's not the world isn't safe enough, or I never have enough, or I personally am not enough, it acts as a glass ceiling. So you hear about the glass ceiling in the corporate world, you can't quite break through. This belief in not enoughness acts as if a glass ceiling that keeps you where you are. It keeps you from your purpose, keeps you from your abundance birthright. It keeps you from accomplishing your goals. And for whatever reason, we can know the thing that we need to do and still not be able to make it happen. Sometimes it'll feel like self-sabotage. Sometimes feels like overwhelm or shutdown or fatigue. And it really is the battle of the brains. So the limbic brain, the spine, the stem of the spine there is in charge of housing, well, it's in charge of a lot of things, but for the sake of this conversation, it's the access point to your trauma, right? It houses the ability to recognize those situations that hurt you in the past that we want to avoid going forward. And so your prefrontal cortex is in charge of executive functions, in charge of intelligent thinking. It knows all the things you need to do to build a business. But your limbic brain will override your prefrontal cortex every time. So I ran $1 billion portfolio. I developed products brought them from idea all the way through, selling them in a store, and promotions and marketing and manufacturing and engineering and all those things. But I still couldn't. I struggled when I first started to build my own business, to ask for what I was worth. And that was because I could do this from a place of doing it for someone else where it was safe, versus the limbic brain saying that's not safe. We can't let that happen. That's where the self-sabotage comes in, right? So we have to learn how to work with that, because essentially, I hate to use the trauma word, because people are like, oh, I don't have trauma. But if you have that feeling of not enoughness, that fear of being seen, the fear of rejection, the fear of criticism, all of this is connected to that unworthiness wound, right? And that lives in the subconscious brain, right? It's below consciousness. Subconscious means we can't see it. And it's constantly telling you when you are safe and when you are not safe. So it goes back to that trigger, right? If you hear something that triggers you, there's a connection to something that your limbic brain believes is not safe, right? And so it is trying to keep you safe, even though it's keeping you stuck instead. And they say that the only way that change will happen is if the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, because that limbic brain is really trying to keep you safe and avoid pain, right? So know that all of the wealth and happiness and health and peace and love and joy and respect and freedom that you are seeking is on the other side of this belief. It is healing the limbic brain so that it will allow you to do the things you know you already need to do. It is healing the way you see yourself so that you can step into your purpose, right? It essentially, when we are in our purpose, when we are in our truth, the truth of our connection to source. I'm going to use this analogy a lot, so kind of get used to it, but we are kind of like the finger on the body of our creator, right? So we are no more separate from our creator than my finger is from this body. That we are no more separate from abundance or support or health and wholeness than our finger is from our body. And the thing that creates that perception that I am somehow separate or lacking, or that I have to figure it out on my own, or I have to figure out how to control the situation, all beliefs of the ego, those are the only things that really create this perception of separation, right? So if my mind chooses to believe that my finger is no longer attached to my body, over time, I'll be able to convince it of that. My finger might fall off and die because maybe I'll just leave it outside in the cold, right? But really, and I'm going to reiterate what I just said, everything you are seeking is on the other side of how you see yourself, which allows you to step into your purpose, right? And when you are in that place, when you are in that knowing your oneness with your creator, your oneness with health and wealth and wholeness, your oneness with a creator that allows your purpose to be lived through you, it creates such a sense of happiness and peace. Peace is the most critical word in this conversation, because there is no more striving. There is no more need to accomplish. There is no more lack that drives the striving or the need to accomplish. That you buzz with electricity, and it is contagious, right? It is the vibrations that, and there's always, when I work with clients and they move through a block and it's been released from their body, there's always a tingling, right? A tingling in the hands, a tingling in the body, a tingling in the head, right? It is such high levels of bliss that you feel like dizzy, right? And when you finally step into this and you learn how to hold it, it's not just a moment in time, you hold it throughout your day. You literally are over the moon with joy. I feel dizzy at times. I feel free as a bird, right? We're experiencing profound levels of joy and contentment and freedom to move. These are like natural byproducts that you can no longer keep yourself from once the blocks are removed, right? There are so few words that can express the tremendous peace and stillness that washes over you. You become so peaceful. It's like a balloon floating through life, right? And there is no conundrum. You don't struggle with should I just sit on my couch? There is sometimes often a question of, how do I balance action with doing? But when you're in the oneness, when you are fully at a core cellular level, feeling at one with the creator and all of its creation, there's nothing left for you to worry about. The guidance and the action that is necessary comes through, and you move through it, and there is no resistance, there is no struggle, there is no wondering, there is no monkey mind, right? That you can't fail, and there's no concern of failing, because you have all that you need, and everything that you need comes to you when you need it, right? So we start to attract soul relationships that feel like match made in heaven, and it's everything that we've ever been searching for. And it sounds cliche to say, but it's everything that you have dreamed of. And that's for a reason, because your dreams were put on your heart by the divine, because that is the evidence that it is given to you already, right? So if we know this is one of those things, yeah, I've heard this before, right? We know this at a cognitive level that I can find bliss if I move through my blocks. But how do I move through my blocks, right? I promise you, we will cover this. So we have to ask ourselves, if we know this already, why aren't more people doing it? Why aren't more people living it? And it's ironic because some of the best, most kind-hearted people in the world have the biggest hearts and the most pure intentions, but they have experienced the most difficulty. They have experienced the most heartbreak. Oftentimes, many people who struggle with addiction were sweet and still are extremely kind, tender-hearted people that just couldn't tolerate the pain that they were exposed to. And so if you didn't feel safe for an extended period of time, right? Welcome to the world. This is the human condition. If you did not feel seen, heard, cared for, or loved for an extended period of time, you are likely dealing with some sort of variation of this not enoughness or unworthiness wound, right? The vast majority of the world's population struggles with some variation of this, right? 85% of millennials say that they feel unworthy. If you struggle with high sensitivity, overgiving, people pleasing, social anxiety, unhealthy isolation, negative self-talk, self-punishment, self-criticism, toxic levels of self-blame, you are likely living with the unworthiness wound. And it may feel like there's a war going on in your mind at all times. The body likely feels very exhausted and fatigued because you're in this never-ending state of hypervigilance, white knuckling life, right? We are holding on for dear life, grasping at the wheel of life, trying to figure out who's out there, what's going on, what problem could potentially arise, what solution do I need to put into place, how can I be prepared, how can I get ahead of the next problem. It creates illness and disease in the body. Your nervous system is stuck in the fight or flight, fawn or freeze mode, and you are never switching back on, or off rather, into rest and digest, growth and repair. You are perpetually in a state of striving to survive. You're never truly thriving, right? You maybe even recognize that it's happening and know, right, here it is again, I know at a prefrontal cortex level that this is not healthy. And I can say, I know I'm worthy, but still not be able to act as if I am, right? Again, battle of the brains, right? You'll continue to draw to you people who continue to reflect to you your wounds. They'll continue to trigger you. It's the gift of life that's trying to help you see that you are not being loved and respected the way you deserve, because there's something in you that is causing this attraction point to keep bringing to you more of the same until we recognize what the problem is and we heal it, right? So yeah, literally, like I said, when the brain cannot function properly if you are constantly in fight or flight. So know that if you have something called the vagus nerve, it's in the spine there, it's in charge of flipping on or off fight or flight, right? So when we're constantly hypervigilant, we're constantly stuck in fight or flight, the vagus nerve becomes atrophied. It's kind of like a muscle, and it doesn't switch into that rest and digest as often as it should. What is also happening is if you are in fight or flight, the brain is flooding the body with stress hormones. Stress hormones are highly acidic. Yes, cortisol is a natural part of the waking process in the morning, but high levels of sustained cortisol and adrenaline over the course of days and weeks and months and years create dis-ease in the body, right? So autoimmune disease is one of the most common illnesses with people who have experienced complex trauma or, just high levels of hypervigilance. So if you're living in that hypervigilant state, the limbic brain is in charge of telling you when you're in a threat, right? It's constantly telling you there's another threat, there's another threat, there's another threat. But if this, not if this, but when this starts to happen early on, especially in those 0 to 7 years, the body and the brain have learned that the world is not safe, right? Especially if you, again, did not feel safe, seen, heard, cared for, or loved for an extended period of time. And so this becomes our general mode of operation. The brain's job is to keep you safe. And it realized that it could not control others around you. And so instead, it decided you had to be the thing that was the problem because you're the only thing it can control. It's the only way it can keep you safe. So it made you and your needs a problem. right? You had to learn to figure out how to keep everyone happy. This is where we become hypersensitive, hyper attuned, highly empathic, so that we can figure out who's here and who do I need to become to stay safe in this environment, right? We hyper attune to the needs of others and become adaptable, and we learn to wear a mask so as not to get hurt again, right? We become what everyone else needs us to be, or we take care of everyone else's needs and we push down who we are and what we truly need. We get so used to denying our needs that we forget who we are and what we need. And so one of the big challenges of this session here today and over the course of the next few days, and hopefully over the rest of your life, is going to be to continue to rediscover who you were made to be before the world changed you. Who were you before someone told you you were too sensitive, or you were too much, or you were too loud, or you were too optimistic, or you were too bubbly, or you were too anything? Who were you before you received that subtle subconscious message that something was wrong with you because the people around you weren't capable of meeting your needs or showing up for you the way you deserved? It's a subconscious message that is received. So we need to remember who we were before we received that message. And many people often lose touch with their bodies as well, that especially if there was sexual trauma involved, that the body becomes an unsafe place. We don't want to inhabit the body anymore. And that's why we oftentimes end up, meditating or astral traveling or all the things that we want to do to get out of our body to escape. But the truth is we chose to incarnate here and now, which means we have to be grounded and we have to be in our body. And it's not a have to. Yes, we should, and I don't even like should. Well, don't should all over yourself. But the thing we came here to accomplish cannot happen if we are not grounded in our bodies. And it is safe and pleasurable to be in our bodies when we heal. Right? So know that your joy is your compass. The dreams that were put on your heart are still there, although they may sometimes look more like survival and healing before you start the healing process. So just look back at your childhood and remember, what were your dreams as a child? Right? I used to play with a day timer. All the other girls were playing with Barbies and I played with a day timer. Right? Look for those quirky little things. Like my oldest daughter, she was barely able to crawl and she was crawling up to people's shoes, even men's shoes. She loves shoes, right? Now we're finding out she wants to be a fashion designer. She loves to make shoes and purses, and she's constantly cutting up her socks to make dresses for Barbies, right? There's innate gifts and talents that were given to you and put on your heart that are still there. They're just buried beneath this fear of being who you are, right? So start to recognize when you're in that hypervigilant state, you're in the triggered state, your body starts to feel like crap. You have that sort of closing down feeling. That means you're being flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. And know that those hormones, those stress hormones, they are designed to help you escape, to get you to safety. But when you were not able to escape as a young child or even in a toxic relationship, the body had to hold on to that, right? So the blockages, the blocks is the term that we all use, but you could call it the trauma, right? It's an open trauma loop that was never closed. So those stress hormones kind of got bottled up in your body and need to be released, because at the time we couldn't finish the process. We couldn't get to safety. And so your body has done you a favor by holding on to these for processing at a later time. Unfortunately, that time never came, right? The body keeps the score. This is how, right? So all of these wounds are still there available to you, waiting to be released and healed. So imagine all of the energy that is necessary to maintain and manage the traumas in your body. Stuck energy and emotion in your body takes a lot to hold on to and to avoid, right? The brain's like, oh, we can't go there, that's going to hurt. Oh, can't do that, that's going to hurt, right? And so much of our energy goes to just maintaining these things that we think that are going to, the limbic brain wants to tell you it's going to kill you, it's going to overwhelm you, it's going to overtake you. And that's actually not true. Unfortunately, we end up spending a whole lot more energy trying to avoid them or protect them than we would if we just moved through them. But we didn't know how. Nobody told us how, right? I spent 40 some odd years trying to figure out how to heal before I finally found the solution, right? So this is the reason why you're not able to step into your life purpose or create the life that you dream of. The unworthiness program is in your subconscious brain, and it's combined with what they call somatic flashbacks. So when you feel triggered by something and your body acts up, maybe you get sweaty palms or your body temperature goes up. That's a somatic flashback, right? That's when your limbic brain is overriding your intelligent brain. In a way, you are hijacked, right? So the hardest part of the program is the not enough belief is in the subconscious mind, right? So below consciousness means we can't see it. The only way we can see it is through the mirror of the other, right? So when someone activates us or triggers us, that is the mirror, that's the gift that's showing us what needs to be healed. But in the same way, the inaccurate mirrors of the unhealthy people that we grew up with showed us a reflection that was untrue, right? So if you think of being in a hall of mirrors, that the mirror, depending on the accuracy of the mirror, it can show you that you're 4 feet wide and 2 feet tall, when actuality you're 5 feet tall and 2 feet wide, right? So we need that reflection from a healthy person so that we can start to see in a loving, safe space where the opportunities to heal are, right? So it's time for you to bring into your life these accurate mirrors that can help reflect your truth, that you are a beautifully divine being who deserves love and respect. It is an honor and a privilege to be in your energy. But know that you can't heal that alone. You have to have connection. And this is the danger of perpetual hermit mode. But there is good news. And this modality that I discovered recently, it's called brain spotting. Brain spotting is used in traditional psychological settings. I am trained in brain spotting, but I have combined that with energy healing. And so I call it trauma spotting or trauma spotting through source tapping, because there is a very strong element of obvious divine intervention that happens in these sessions. And the beauty is it really actually works. I have a YouTube channel where I talk a lot about it. I did a video immediately after my session that I experienced in the training, and it just is so profound. It is so profound. There are no words to explain the freedom, the release, the renewal, the wholeness, the knowing of your connection with the divine, not just knowing, but the feeling that can happen in these moments. Like I said, the peace that you cannot, there is no word. And I love that Lao Tzu says, the thing that cannot be named, right? There are no words to explain the tremendous wholeness that you feel when you go through something like this. It really, really works. I literally tried everything. There is not a single modality out there that I didn't try, right? QHHT and hypnosis and all the meditations and all the affirmations and talk therapy and even EMDR, which is a somatic therapy, which can work, but it's a bit more abrasive. Nothing worked like brain spotting worked. And it was fast and it was easy, right? So you name it, I tried it. Brain spotting was the only thing that finally caused the breakthrough, right? So brain spotting works through using the optic nerve. So the eyes are directly connected to the limbic brain through the optic nerve. And it allows us to find the access point to the trauma that is in the body, right? So when you are in vicinity of me, you are hyper attuning to my calm, safe nervous system. That allows your nervous system to entrain to that and bring in the divine intervention that is necessary to help facilitate the healing. And the body is designed to heal. If you think about when the body gets a cut, you don't need to tell the body how to heal the cut. The body knows that it can heal when it is in the proper state for healing. You can't be in that fight or flight, hypervigilant state. We have to be in rest and digest, growth and repair, which sometimes requires someone setting that stage for you. We'll get into entrainment in a bit, right? So it's shocking how effective this is, right? It releases the self-sabotaging behaviors and the blocks, all those times where you wanted to do something, but you just couldn't quite make it happen. It removes that. You no longer have to push through these barriers, break through that glass ceiling that is keeping you where you are, right? You get to reclaim who you were truly meant to be and recall all of the energy that has historically gone to maintaining your traumas and your triggers so that you can fully and truly start to self-actualize. You not only become comfortable in your own body, but you truly are reborn in a way. I remember feeling like, people say, oh, the phoenix rising from the ashes, and that sounds so grand. But really what I felt like was a little sprouting out of the ground, right? That I was fragile, but I was new. And this is a part of me. There was a new identity that I had never seen before. That when I look back, I can see the traces of it as a child, but it had been so long since I had known that version of me, the truth of who I was made to be, right? You not only become comfortable in your own body, but again, you are reborn, right? This is a reclamation of who you were designed to be. Your gifts and your powers start to come online. This is the most exciting part, right? You get to start to remember your dreams and find your passion again. And most importantly, you find your purpose. You reclaim your abundance birthright and you make peace with shining brightly. And it doesn't matter who gets uncomfortable, because even though you will still feel how they feel, you will be okay with knowing that that is a gift, that my shining brightly makes you feel uncomfortable because it is showing you what you are capable of and not living. And that is a gift. So I, in my infinite love and compassion for you, will hold this discomfort with you, knowing that you are feeling uncomfortable and seeing it as a gift. And I will be there in it with you, but I will not save you from it. There is no greater sense of taking your power back. And the beauty is it can be easy. This is not years of talk therapy or saying a mantra 101 times. It's simple. In fact, you don't have to do anything other than get out of the way. And we do that. The mind is what gets in the way. That disbelief, the negative self-talk, the loop of this isn't working for me, or I know this already. All the brain has to do, the brain is what gets in the way. All the brain has to do is be present with the sensations in the body and breathe into that safe, calm state of rest and digest. And the facilitator, whether it's myself or others that I have trained, will be able to hold that space for you, right? So your true nature is whole and complete. You are worthy simply because you exist. And once we remove the beliefs that say otherwise, the divine will handle the rest, right? So let's take a deep breath. I need a drink of water because my throat's getting really dry. So give me a second here. Lemon water is also a great way to alkalize the body if you have been living in a highly acidic state. Just a side note. All right, so we have been told that healing has to be hard. It is not true. It does not have to take a long time. Brain spotting is soft and easy, the softest and easiest way to heal that I have ever experienced. We finally get to get out of our head. How about you? Do you, I remember the first time I had my light bulb moment. It was truly the first moment of awakening. I felt like I had been living in a dark room my entire life, and somebody just turned on the light bulb and I saw all the thoughts that I had been thinking that I never realized I was thinking before. And what led me to that place with that therapist was feeling stuck in my head, the hamster wheel of the torture of the round and round and round and round, constantly pondering all of these things and never finding a solution. Who would like freedom from that? Finally, when we start to brain spot, you get out of your head and into your body. And that's how we get out of the way. And that's what allows the body to heal itself, the divine to come in, God eternal within the body. So a guy by the name of, and I will say, it doesn't matter what term you prefer. You could say God, divine source, creator, universe. A rose by any other name still smells as sweet. If you know me, I say this a lot. I like all the words, so I use them interchangeably, right? Greg Braden, a well-known geologist and scientist, discovered that the codes in our DNA, when mapped to ancient text and a periodic table, literally spells out God eternal within the body on our DNA, right? So somebody said, I don't know if it was Greg Braden or someone similar, but they said, if you were an artist and you made a painting, would you not sign your artwork? right? And I love that analogy that we are literally one with the divine. We are connected to the divine the same way that my finger is connected to this body. And there's evidence and proof in many different ways. Right. So the body is, and you've heard the term, the body is the vessel, right? The body is the house of our soul, that there is a river of life and love and healing that flows through our bodies at all times. Another beautiful, really interesting fact that I love to throw in here is that there's 3 ingredients that create a crystal or make up a crystal, are silica, calcium, and oxygen. Our cells are lined with silica. Obviously, our bones are calcium, and we breathe oxygen. The breath of life is the oxygen that courses through us, and we are giant crystals. We are crystalline already, although we are becoming more and more crystalline. We're not waiting for something that's so far off that we have yet to experience. We are here already, right? Add to that our bodies are 70 to 80% water, which is a conductor of electricity. So crystals, did you know, are used in cell phones and watches to help store memory and conduct energy. And we are more like a Tesla tower made to conduct source energy than anything else. We are electromagnetic beings, and parts of us are just like a certain type of crystal called a piezoelectric crystal. Piezoelectric crystals are used to create surges of energy, right? So when you strike a piezoelectric crystal, you create a surge of latent energy, right? So think about your stress, your trauma, the difficult life experiences that you have lived through so far as having been that strike on the crystal, that there are latent surges of energy that are stored in you that are waiting to be released. I always like to think of a cork in a bottle. When we heal, when we do the brain spotting sessions and we heal these traumas, we're pulling the cork out of the bottle. And I imagine like a bottle of champagne, this surge of latent energy that has been stuck underneath this trauma, right? So it is just waiting to be unleashed. There is power that is created under pressure. And no matter what the world has done to you, it actually has been for you. That when you learn how to harness this latent energy, you see that literally everything that you need is within you. And I've always struggled with these terms that people say that I'm like, I don't have everything I need. How can it be within me? It doesn't make sense until you realize it, until you actualize it, until you ingrain it at a core cellular level. And then you're like, aha, it was true all along. That literally everything we need is inside of us. So you think about the biblical story that God laid down in the dirt and made an impression of himself in the dirt and then breathed a breath of life into him. Whether or not that is your belief or you believe that you are, a fractal of the universe, it doesn't matter. Just find the perspective that allows you to understand your oneness with your creator, right? Sometimes I'll say he, I'll just clarify he, she, if they, them, the one is everything. So it doesn't really matter if we say he or she, but just recognize your oneness with the divine, right? You are a fractal of the creator. The same way a ray of light will shine into a crystal and on the other side will come out a rainbow. You are one of the rays of the rainbow. You are intimately connected with the divine. The divine is in you and you are in it. You cannot be separate from it. You cannot be separate from abundance. You cannot be separate from health or wealth or wholeness or infinite support. You truly are in need of nothing. The only problem is the beliefs in the mind, the programs, right? You are the highest form of creation that you literally have access to. You are one with the ultimate source of healing. And it is our body that facilitates that connection, that core cellular knowing, the healing, the understanding that is necessary to move through all of your blocks. All we need to do, and I say things over and over because they're important that we ingrain them. We fully understand. All we need to do is get out of our own ways with our thoughts, right? The negative thinking, the voice of unworthiness that says, who are you to believe that you are one with God? Don't be so proud. How could you ask for so much more? Don't you have enough already? But really, we need to question that voice. And in fact, I often recommend to my clients that we name that voice. You can call it the inner critic. I like to call it, you imagine like a little angel and demon sitting on your shoulder. And this guy's using like my little trauma demon. I like to flick him off when he's getting a little out of control, right? It would be crazy, literally crazy, to question our value and worth. If I am the finger on God's body, who am I to believe that I am anything less than deserving of everything that the body experiences? Right? You are the most precious being. And it is how we see ourselves that is our biggest limitation. Remember, we were given dominion over the earth. Abundance is our birthright. It is the disbelief, the thought of lack, that is the ultimate block, right? So consider again, we are electromagnetic beings. You can also think of what happens in an electrical wire, that our bodies are like an electrical wire. And when they want to slow the flow of electricity, they introduce resistance. Well, the negative thinking is resistance in our body, right? So as we remove these negative or limiting beliefs, we are removing the blocks from our body that allow the flow of abundance, the flow of creation, the flow of health, the flow of wealth to move through us. And we do have the ability to control the choices that we make around our thoughts and our beliefs. Sorry, I couldn't get to mute on that one. Let me grab a drink of water here. Okay. All right. Just know that society sends us very subtle messages, and all of the marketing, all of the media, the music, the packaging, you go to the grocery store and you got to look at the magazines. It's everywhere. It's constantly sending us this message that you are not enough unless you do these things. You're not enough unless you buy these things. There's recent conversation around the world being overpopulated as if the human is an annoyance or a nuisance. It's very subtle programming. And we don't realize that this, desire to keep up with the Joneses or live the life that they say we should is creating this belief that you're not enough. It's constant reaffirming of this belief. But if you are your creator's favorite, how can you not be enough? It's completely impossible, right? If we are an aspect of the creator, that makes us worthy simply because we exist. If you are breathing, you are worthy. Right? You are extraordinary, powerful, a beautiful divine being who is made with purpose and intention. You are made perfectly imperfect for a purpose. You are not an accident. You are not here by happenstance. There are no coincidences, right? The world needs that special gift that only you can offer. And you are a critical piece of a collective puzzle. Like we complement each other, right? We are here for a specific reason. And when you step into that purpose and you use your gifts and accomplish, or, actually fully self-actualize, I want to say accomplish, right? But you allow yourself to flourish and blossom into who you were made to be. You're allowing the creator to move through you. You are letting go of the reins of control. You are trusting the divine will move through you, and you are getting out of your own way, then you cannot help but manifest abundance because it is your true nature. And you have to ask the question, how do you know all this to be true? Right? This because I lived it. And this is the only reason that I can be here and say these things with confidence. I will also reiterate to you that I teach these things from a place of experience, which means I experienced complex trauma. I experienced the feeling of unworthiness. And one of my trauma responses was fearing doing something wrong, fearing saying the wrong thing. So I have such a high level of integrity that requires me to be 1,000% certain of the things that I say, that should assure you that there is no possible way I could sit here in front of you. I would be melting in my own fear of rejection if I didn't know these things to be true, right? First, I lived the life that they said I should, right? I did everything that they told me to do. I did everything that they told me that was going to make life worth living. But yet I felt such pain and sadness and frustration of being on the wrong path. And you know that truth resonates in the body once you start to play with the body, right? That the body is the highest discerning tool. That truth, when people say, does that resonate with you? There is a knowing in your body that says, yes, that's accurate. That's right for me. Right. So I was literally able to go from the extreme levels of depression and poverty and system overwhelm and complex trauma to a life of freedom and abundance and connection and guidance and service. And you will know this can work for you when we do an exercise in a little bit, using the body to help you discern whether or not it's true for you. Right. So I literally have accomplished everything that I ever dreamed of. And now even bigger and greater things are coming that I never even anticipated. But yeah, I remember the pain of a misaligned life. I can feel it so clearly in my body that I know that I have to share. If there is a way out, if there's a way to help beautiful, honest, good-hearted people fully self-actualize and claim their abundance birthright, that we are creating a wave of people who are going to create the new earth. And I have an obligation. I have a responsibility to share that with you. Right? I cannot sit back and know that other people are experiencing the pain that I know how to get out of without helping and sharing that. Right? So just remember that perfection does not equal worthiness, that you are made perfectly imperfect for your purpose. Every ounce of you is made with intention. And even those parts of us that, especially those parts of us that we deny or push away or reject, they are made to serve a purpose. It is the fracturing and the rejecting of those parts of ourselves where we splinter off and bury or hide parts of us because we think that there's something wrong with them. We think, well, maybe they're right. Those people who judged us, maybe I'm a little broken, but it's untrue. That there's a part of you, your heart and your body and your soul, that knows that there is something missing. There is something that is just not quite right. And we are incomplete without that intimate connection with the divine, that knowing that you are one with divine, that you are the finger on the body of your creator, that we are not broken. We just feel incomplete because we are missing that connection, that relationship. You were born worthy and you will die worthy. And it doesn't matter what you do in between. Now you do have a purpose, and it is the source or the path to everything that you seek. But you are not worthy because you self-actualized or because you accomplished your life purpose. You are worthy, period. That is a complete and whole sentence. You don't earn your abundance birthright. You don't earn love and respect. You deserve it because you exist. So I promised an exercise. Let's check this out. So your body knows truth, right? So close your eyes for a second and imagine two scenarios. Sometimes I don't even want to do this because the first aspect is, yeah, okay, I won't taint it for you. Imagine for a moment that you are in an accident, that you are here by happenstance, that you are just one in 7 billion people who will be here and not really do much and pass and not leave a legacy. Your life won't matter. You didn't matter. You're just a coincidence. How does that feel in your body? It makes me sick. It literally makes my stomach nauseous. I can feel the contraction. I can feel the depression. I can feel the compression. Right? So notice how your body responded to that. And now let's shake it off. Shaking is very, very key in releasing things. Notice when a dog, gets in a fight with another dog, they go and they shake, right? Shaking is very key to the nervous system, the shaking things off. All right, so let's try on the opposite. You are one with your creator. You are an aspect of the divine. You are a fractal of the divine. You are one with abundance. You are whole and complete already and in need of nothing because it is all already yours. You are here for a reason. You are made with intention. You are loved deeply. Your presence matters. And you are a beautiful light to those who have the honor and the privilege to experience your energy. Now, how does that feel? How does your body feel? My heart is fluttering. I'm excited. My shoulders want to move back. I feel really good, right? I feel tingly all over. It's like a fizzing soda pop, right? That's how you discern right from wrong, decision A versus decision B, whether or not this information is true or not. You are like a tuning fork, and you will resonate with truth. So your body is your greatest discerning tool, right? The mind is often the last to know. And there's a reason that your soul urges you relentlessly towards abundance and your life purpose. It's like the unquenchable thirst that will never leave you alone. Your dreams and desires were put on your heart for a reason. Joy is your compass. Life will never seem quite right until you find your purpose. Follow your soul's urge and follow your heart. Your soul will not let you rest until you do. And I know for me, it was, I tried so many different things. There was no getting around it, right? The goal is to get you from striving to thriving, that it doesn't have to be painful. You don't have to suffer through this life anymore, that you are meant to experience a beautiful life. Your creator wants that for you. Would I want to leave, I'm in cold Wisconsin here, so I like to use this example, but would I want to leave my finger outside in the cold while the rest of my body is inside warm and having a nice cup of tea? No. The divine wants you to be happy, healthy, whole, and complete, just the same as the rest of itself, right? It experiences what you experience. It needs you to be happy. Right? I know that feeling of searching. I know that feeling of fear of having hope, fear that maybe I'll get my hopes up and I'll find that this doesn't work either. Right? I tried that already. But I can tell you this. There is hope. There is healing. This is possible. And the name of the game, once you commit to the healing path, is sustained focus and attention over time. That there are functions in the brain, right? Neural pathways that can be rewritten that will support this positive thinking, the rewriting of the beliefs, the brain spotting for healing the trauma and getting the things out of the body. There are grounded, practical, psychological, and biological practices and techniques that work. So I'm giving you permission. This is your hall pass right now, that it's safe to have hope. It's safe to believe. And I trust and know that your body just gave you the evidence that allows you to know this is true, right? So just know that feeling of searching, that there's got to be something more, that it can create a soul sickness, right? The dark night of the soul, depression, anxiety. Dark night of the soul is a soul sickness because we feel that we've exhausted all the options and we still can't quite figure it out. We realize that nothing they told us to do quenches the thirst. We feel like something's still missing, feel like we've tried everything and nothing works. Maybe we went down the path that they said that we should. We allowed them to should all over us, right? Maybe we got a 4-year degree, a good job, good credit. We bought the house, the car, the stuff. Maybe you didn't do that. Maybe either way, it really didn't matter. because happiness is not achieved through those things. Whether or not you had a lot of money or no money at all, neither of those paths leads to where we are trying to go. And so many people can get stuck in those negative thought loops. What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Why couldn't I make it work? I should be grateful for what I have. This is the little trauma voice that kicks in, right? It perpetuates toxic levels of self-blame. We believe it's always our fault. We punish ourselves. We take on the role of the abuser to ourselves. So just know that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which path you went down, whether you did all the things they said you should or you didn't do any of them, neither would have worked, right? Whether or not you have a few dollars or $1 million, there's always going to be that feeling of something's missing. Until we understand our oneness, we step into our purpose, we fully heal, the rest falls into place. So even though I accomplished all the things they said that I should, I can say it didn't work, right? I also did the other path earlier prior to that of not having anything, and that didn't work either. It wasn't until I started understanding spirituality and psychology and sort of the biohacking of healing that things finally started to make sense. And I was really able to step into my purpose. That's when things really started to click, was when I stepped into my purpose. That's when I felt like the thirst was quenched. Give me a second. So just know that our left brain, or the ego, the voice of trauma, will try to convince us that this is all there is. All the physical things that we can see, all the things they've told us we should do, we adopt the belief that there's got to be something wrong with me, and that's why it hasn't worked out. Right? If we were ignored or criticized as a child, maybe we felt like an inconvenience, or we felt like it was a problem that we were taking up space, or that our needs were not being met. We learned to believe that our needs were the problem, or that we were the problem. We learned to hide our emotions and ignore how we feel, stuff down our needs. And that again creates that glass ceiling that keeps us where we are. And every time we try to shift and change our life, there's that little voice that says, who do you think you are? That's not safe. Don't go there. Who am I to dream? Who am I to do this thing? Who am I to make a change in my life? But the truth is, you are the one. There is no one on earth that can do the thing that you were built to do. So ask yourself, when did you first learn to play small? When did you first decide to give part of yourself away? When did you first start to believe that you weren't enough? And it's time to rewrite that story. We have to reclaim the fragmented and rejected parts of ourselves. So it's my intention that you will walk away from this masterclass knowing what it takes to call back those fractured parts of yourself so that you can become whole again. You will become unshakable. And when we go back and we realize who we truly are, we remember our truth. We connect so deeply at a soul level with our divinity that absolutely nothing can take us down. We become unshakable. When we heal the wound of not enoughness, and we heal the belief of brokenness, when we can see where we gave our power away and where we started to play small and why we self-sacrifice, that's when we have the opportunity to realize, I am the one. I am one with the one. I am one with the creator. I am one with the power, the infinite source of creation. I am the one to change this story. The one who can rewrite my beliefs, the one who can stand proud, the one who can heal, the one who can choose to get help, the one who can uphold boundaries, the one to break toxic relationship cycles. I can choose. I am the one, and I am enough. I am the one who can break the cycle of lack. I am the one who can do anything. so long as I understand my oneness with the divine. You are the one. You are the knight in shining armor, riding in on the white horse. Because you are one with the divine. And once you have that energy inside of you and you recognize, I know that there is nothing that can come between me and my relationship with my creator. It is so much easier to tap back into that. Even if you fall out of it, it's just a matter of realignment, of calibration, right? The frequency that you are currently holding is not allowing you to be the one for yourself. And that's okay. We acknowledge it, we embrace it, we see it, and then we choose to change it. It can be hard to not understand how until we're given that information. And that's why you are not meant to do it alone. That's why I'm here for you today, right? I will help you spot those patterns of trauma that have become your general mode of operation, right? This is your whole entire life. You have lived up until this point, not realizing these things are living in your blind spot. Trying to do it alone is like trying to do the divine's job. We have to ask for help. We have to surrender into faith and trust, knowing it is not all up to us. And when we believe it is, we actually make it harder. Okay. Well, I think we're almost done because my throat is saying yes. We have to remember it's not up to us to solve our problems. It's not up to us to make everyone happy, nor is it our responsibility to take their response or their unhappiness on ourselves, right? We are simply asked to put down the disbelief and rest in gratitude and awe for the beauty of life, the beauty of being the one and being one with the divine. It's delicious and it's yummy. Well, So just remember, you deserve happiness. You deserve a life of ease. You deserve to feel safe and loved and cared for. You deserve to have your needs met. You deserve your dreams. It is all available to you if you choose to believe. Once you learn how to play the game called life, the best is truly yet to come. It can be so good. And I promise you, those feelings of not wanting to be here will subside. But we have to know that proximity is our greatest tool. We need someone to calibrate to. And when we attune to an instrument, there is always a rule of measure, right? When we calibrate a tool, there's a 0 point to align to. And the same is true with humans. Proximity is power. We need an example of who to align to. We cannot hold in our current state the things we're trying to manifest. Our energy isn't aligned to it. It's a tricky thing. But we know we are not attuned to it by the way our life looks, by what is showing up in the world around us. Your bank account will tell you how aligned you are to the frequency of abundance. If you're not where you need to be, you need to recalibrate. As we attune to the right frequency, you'll find that there are things that you can hold and things that you are not ready to hold. Recalibration is a moment-to-moment process. It's happening in the micro moments of your life. In every now moment, recalibration. So know that anything is possible once you align to it. As within, so without. And if you have a dream and it has not manifested in your life yet, it is a recalibration issue, right? You are not broken. You are not to blame. There is nothing wrong with you. You are worthy. You just weren't given the manual of how to play the game called life, but it's here now. You are perfectly imperfect for your purpose. You are not an accident. You are not here by happenstance. There are no coincidences. You were made with intention and you are made with a purpose. And most importantly, you are deeply, deeply loved. You are a spark of the divine You are an aspect of the divine. You are one with the divine. Therefore, you are one with abundance. You are your creator's favorite. And there is no other thing on planet Earth that is loved as much as you are. We are special. As much as I don't want to play into the ego, and the ego needs to believe it is special, but really everything is part of the divine and therefore special. We are coming to the end. Thank goodness my voice made it this far, right? So just know that we are creating all the time, whether we realize it or not. We are an aspect of the creator, therefore we are creators. What we don't realize is because we are manifesting subconsciously, we are misfiring in a way, sort of shooting ourselves in the foot, recreating more of the same things that we don't want in our lives. So we have to understand, how does manifestation work? So I'm going to cover this tomorrow, how manifestation works. How do we shift out of this place of misfiring and shooting ourselves in the foot? Basically, what we have covered today is why we feel unworthy, how we start to heal that unworthiness process. If you have not already had one of my free healing sessions, please do either DM me or comment in the group. Let me know. There's one per person. If you talk to anybody who's ever received a session, I will give you my all for an hour, and we will make sure to get at the root cause of all of your abundance blocks. So now we understand sort of why we have this block, what the block looks like, how to identify it, how to heal it. The next step is identifying how we're manifesting, how to use our manifestation and our creation mechanism with intention so that we're creating a life we actually want instead of more of the same, as well as how to identify our purpose. So that's still coming up in the next 2 days. Tomorrow we'll cover manifestation. I'll share a little bit of my story, because of course, being seen, being vulnerable is part of this healing path. So I will model that for you. For today's freebie, our freebie for the day is an I am the one video. And so what that means is take 2 or 3 seconds or as many minutes as you want, but at a bare minimum, a video of yourself stating I am the one. And for everyone who does that, we will not only put your name in the hat for a free coaching package, but you will also be sent a link for an inner child regression. So we want to go back to those moments where we started to fracture, those moments where someone told us we were too much, or we decided that I'm not worthy. They're not paying attention to me because there's something wrong with me. So we want to go back and find that version of yourself and heal that and recall those lost parts of you so that you can become whole and complete again. So post your I am the one video in the group for a chance to win the coaching package, as well as a inner child regression to reclaim your whole self, right? And then tomorrow, the freebie will be a future self progression to meet your millionaire self. So definitely don't miss out on tomorrow's freebie as well. All right, I think that's all I have for you today. We arrived, Yahoo! Hopefully today or tomorrow, the video, my voice will be even better. And there it goes. We are done for today. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Take care. Namaste. Bye-bye.